we help you get fat tones from a skinny wallet. Today we're going to be taking a test drive on my AC30 patch that you watched me make last week. Now, as you saw, I just kind of got to some basic tones within 5 minutes, since the goal was to try to get to a good usable sound within 10 minutes. And so what I did there is I had set up each of the scenes with varying different degrees of amp gain, and using a scene controller to control that so it switches seamlessly from scene to scene. Now, after that, I went back in and I refined some things. I added 2 drive blocks, I added a compressor block, I added both reverb blocks and both delay blocks. I think all I had was one basic spring reverb on there to start with. And so I kind of have some setups on there. I have it set up so that as you're on the first 2 scenes, which is clean and edge of breakup, you have that medium spring reverb with a cloud reverb going in the background. And then when you switch into the higher gain modes, which is drive, more drive, and lead, each of those is on the London plate, in addition to that same cloud. So that minimizes any sound artifacts as you're switching between those scenes. Since you're only switching that one reverb, there is a little bit of a noticeable difference switching between the edge of breakup to the next gain stage, but it's much more minimal than if you're changing both, or just if you only have one block and you're only switching that one. So that kind of helps smooth that out some. And then I did set up an ambient synth block on there, which basically is all the delays, all the reverbs, and a synth running into a phaser in parallel, and that kind of creates just this nice ambient bed of sound behind what you're playing. And I think that's just super enjoyable for swells, or even if you don't want to use it for swells, you can pick with it just like you normally would, and just leaves this nice pad sound behind you. You can click on either of those 2 drive blocks the way I have this set up, and use that with the synth, so that's kind of really cool as well, to get just you know, clean and dirty sounds going with that as well. It's just pretty unique, I think. So here's what I have set up in those 2 drive blocks. On drive block 1, I have, for the clean channel, I have an RC booster and I have a treble booster. And like I said, you can switch them on, so you have either one or both or none. So it's up to you. So you have 3 levels of gain for every scene. So that's the clean scene. Going to the edge of breakup scene, we have a blues OD, which is a blues breaker style overdrive. And then I also have the Tone of Kings, which is obviously the King of Tone, which is also another blues breaker style overdrive, but it's a little bit darker. Then onto the drive channel, I have the RC booster again and the DOD 250. Into the more drive scene, I have a Timmy and the treble booster again. You have to have the treble booster with that AC30. You got to get that Brian May tone, man. You got to do it. Then the lead tone on here, the lead scene, I have the 1981, which is kind of a modified rat. It's got a nicer lower gain circuit. It's a little bit smoother. Then in addition to the 1981, I also put the 3 knob version of a tube driver on there. And so all of these together give you a very wide range of gain that's available. And then on that ambient synth scene, I have the 1981 and the DOD 250, because I think that those just kind of suit it to give you some really cool textures with that thicker rat distortion and kind of a nice medium overdrive with that 250. I think it's just pretty nice the way that works out. I did choose all of these in such a way not to hide the amp's character or to really change it a whole lot, but really just kind of give you more of it and maybe a slight EQ bump one way or another with each of them. So I wanted it to sound as natural as possible. I didn't want it to sound like you're clicking on a pedal, because I think that if you're using something like the Fractal, you're doing it because you love the amp sounds and you want to maintain the character of those amps. And so that was really the goal in choosing these, and the way that I paired them up is I think that it comes across sounding very natural across all of them. Obviously, when you get into the higher gain, it's a little less natural, but it's still pretty cool and very usable across all of it. Now, if you're going to use this patch, you may want to work on some of the delay settings and the reverb settings. Maybe it's too much or not enough for you. You may want to adjust some of that, but I think it's a great starting point. And like I said, all in all, I didn't use any deep settings on here. I didn't get into any of the deep editing that you can do with the Fractal. I mean, you can get into any drive pedal. You can change the EQ curve of that pedal. You can change the diodes. You can change the clipping rate. I mean, you can do so many different things to just tweak to the nth degree every bit of this. But I stayed right on the surface level, used just the controls that you would see on the actual units. And that's how I achieved these tones. So for all the people that say it's so difficult to get a good sound out of Fractal, you have to know all this stuff, you have to dive deep, you really don't. You can really just use some very basic things, and a lot of those were not even huge tweaks back and forth. Now, like I said, did it take me longer than 10 minutes to do the whole preset? Yeah, it definitely did. But that's because, like I said, I was going in there and I was testing, do I want this drive, do I want that drive? And I actually wound up using some drives I normally wouldn't use. So just wanted to experiment around with that, and then, like I said, kind of tweaking. Do I want a little bit more gain and a little less gain? Play with the tone a little bit, just like you would with a normal pedal board. That was really the mentality that I took to this, is just tweak each pedal and each block as though it was something that was a physical pedal, and how I would want to tweak that to get the sounds that I wanted. So I'm very pleased with the results. Let's listen to it and let's see what you think. finished layout once you click into the preset. You'll notice that I have the 6 red buttons here for the different scenes. Obviously each one is going to be a different gain range, so you have your clean, edge of breakup, drive, more drive, lead, and then your ambient synth block. Up here you have the 2 blue ones. This one is labeled drive 1, delay 2. This one's labeled drive 2, trem. The reason those have 2 effects labeled on there is because if you just tap, it's going to engage the drive. But if you hold it, it's going to engage that second delay. Same on this one. If you just tap it, you're going to engage that second drive. If you hold it, you're going to engage the tremolo. So that gives you access to 4 different effects right here that you can control right on the main scene. And I think that's going to be pretty awesome. And when I've used this, I found that to be extremely helpful. So then further navigation, like I said, you just tap the presets, you're back to the preset layout. Hit the scenes button, you're back into scenes. Hold presets, now you're into individual effects. So that gives you everything you need. You have the tap button, obviously, here. Hold that down, back into scenes. It's just that easy. Well, that's it for this week on Wolf Guitars and Gear. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the like, and leave me a comment and let me know what your favorite feature on this was, which you think maybe I should have done differently. If you do enjoy the sounds here, I have set up a small store where you can download patches, and right now this is only one on there, but as time goes on I'm going to be adding more and more, so definitely stay tuned and check back often, as there will definitely be more presets available there. Like I said, I'm just putting a nominal fee on it just because of the time and effort that I took to put these together. I'm not really looking to make money off of it. It's really just to try to compensate me for the time that I've already spent putting these together. So once again, hope you enjoy it, and we'll see you next time here on Wolf Guitars and Gear, where we help you get fat tones from a skinny wallet.